Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today, we're going to be going over Xbox Game Pass. Now, there's been a lot of stuff going around. There has been, actually, for a few years, where like Game Pass is not profitable. It's killing these studios because, again, Xbox just had a whole bunch of layoffs, including canceled some games like Perfect Dark, Everwild, and Project Blackbird. It also pulled funding from like Romero Game Studios, possibly too from Kojima Productions for OD, and then also Toys for Bob had a deal to make a game for Microsoft, and there hasn't been any update on that either. But yeah, it's come back into the forefront again if Game Pass is actually good and if it's actually profitable and all of that. So we're going to go over subscriber numbers, and all of these are old because, again, we don't get updated counts like we used to because, again, Game Pass has not been as successful or profitable as they were hoping for. Even Nadella was hoping to get some bonuses if Game Pass subscribers grew enough, and those numbers were not being reached, and so they don't really project it as much. Because, again, when we actually look at Xbox on how much they contribute to the entirety of Microsoft, it's about 7 to 10%. It's not very much. It's pretty small. But it is growing. So, keeping this in mind, I'm showing this slide first, and this is an old one, right? Roughly 2022. The reason I'm showing this is because this is to help show the breakdown of how they present their numbers, and they haven't said that they present them really any differently. But when we take a look at Xbox Live Gold, that's before it became Game Pass Core. It's the same thing, it's just multiplayer, which Game Pass Core is now $75 a year, not $60. They had about roughly 12 million, and again, they had a decrease of 31%, and that's because people probably hopping over to Game Pass on the console side. Game Pass, excluding PC, was roughly 22 million. And that's actually quite a few. And we take a look at an updated number count that we had, which that says quarter 3 of 2022. So this is just a little bit later in the quarter. We had 25 million that were actually on console. And again, this excludes PC. Now, when we work on taking a look at PC, let's see, this would have been in 2023. Taking a look at Game Pass, this is Mark Skowarski, the group project manager at Microsoft, and he shared this on his LinkedIn profile. So, partner with creative directors at Bethesda and Game Pass Studios to pilot new growth ideas, making it easier for over 15 million PC players to enjoy Xbox Game Pass. So right now we're at 25 million Game Pass subscribers between standard and ultimate tier, and then 15 million PC Game Passers on the service. And again, this does not include people that are still Xbox Live / Game Pass Core, right? Well, PC subs that we've seen has seen over 30%. We're kind of assuming that it's based off of roughly this number, because again, this was 2 years prior, and it definitely got out there for a while in 2023 that they had 15 million on PC. But yeah, roughly 30% would give us 19 million. Okay, I'm keeping track of all of these numbers so far. And we can see too, since they've been pushing, so Game Pass, then when they started it, is like over here, right? And it's had this kind of slow, maybe steady growth. This year was really bad, right? Because of COVID, all that. But again, they saw more growth in the later years. And then this was Activision Blizzard King, and they've seen massive growth from that. They've also been putting a lot more games basically everywhere else. Okay, first it was like a few, like Rare and Indiana Jones and Pentiment, etc. Well, now they're pushing a ton of other stuff basically everywhere else, like even Forza Horizon. But let's go ahead and get into some of the math now. So if we have, I think it was this one, 25 million subscribers just on console, and again, these are old numbers, and they've never said in their earnings revenue that that Game Pass is decreasing any quarter for their earnings I've ever watched or listened to. Not once, okay? And I do that for fun. It's boring. They're roughly about an hour long. You can go listen to them if you'd like. But yeah, they've never actually said that. So looking at 25 million. And let's take the standard right now, which is what, 15 a month, which is 180 a year. That's $4.5 billion. Okay, let's take 15 million PC players. And for them, it's $12 a month, which is 144 a year. $2.16 billion. So we're at 6.6 billion. And if we take a look at adding 30% to that, we don't have to keep this because, again, it's just adding a percentage. It's not like a perfect number. We're looking at 2.7 billion. That's a ton. We're looking at over $7 billion per year that Game Pass is pulling in between its three tiers of PC, Standard, and Ultimate. And the reason this is frustrating is because there's a lot of misinformation going on. And it ain't just this guy, okay? But there's something specific that I want to talk about, is that he started, over 18 months ago. I checked Xbox, and, is basically first party included in the P&L, and felt like a piece of internal accuracy, might mean Game Pass is actually profitable, but it sure does put pressure on the margins for internal games and possibly means some studios don't actually make much profit or any at all, which that's certainly possible. Absolutely. But he said, let's see, and this was all before he was figuring out stuff. This was all before Xbox was actually fully publishing on PlayStation 5. And they're just about putting everything over there. Even Hellblade 2 now, number 1 and 2 are actually going over. But he said, regardless of all of that, sources have reached out to tell me that even when you include lost revenue associated with first-party games, not just the unit sales that are being lost, but also the microtransactions, Game Pass is still profitable. That's great. And a lot of folks that are touting that Game Pass is not profitable are referring to this guy this week. And he's even saying, look, I was wrong. Let's go play Tony Hawk now. Okay? This is crazy. I mean, this has almost 700,000 views. That's insane. And when we're looking at Game Pass, not including Xbox Live or / Game Pass Core, which some people still have, there's probably several million that still have that. Well, let's say there's, 5 million? Let's do some more math. 5 million, I think, is probably a pretty low number. And this would still be, across Xbox One and Series X. Let's see, 75 a year. It'd still be almost $400 million, which, would now put us at almost $8 billion. Game Pass is almost $8 billion. Like the subscription services of Xbox gaming, right, are $8 billion. Now, let's take a look at actually how much Game Pass takes. We know that from Phil Spencer, who was the CEO, which became the Microsoft gaming CEO at the time, interviewed with Windows Central, revealing that they spend over $1 billion on third-party content for Game Pass every year and to service itself. Okay, so let's say, and this was 2024, let's say it's $2 billion now. Okay, let's say it's $2 billion. Just the subscription base from 2022 is well more than covers that by itself, excluding Game Pass Core and also excluding Game Pass PC. It's profitable, folks. It's profitable. And I believe when Sarah Bond came out and said that we have 34 million fully paid subscribers. Fully paid means we're not talking about Game Pass Core. And fully paid subscribers, she's a part of Xbox. I believe that means that those are people on the console. not on PC. Because again, they have already always worked on separating those numbers since they've actually been giving them out since the start, which is several years ago. So yeah, this is crazy. And if we're not taking this as gospel, because again, we don't necessarily know. If we take 34 million, gosh dang it. Sorry, folks. This is all in real time, as you can tell. 34 million, and let's say they're all paying for standard. It's over $6 billion. That's crazy. Plus everything else. Yeah, I mean, I think it's over $8 billion. And that wouldn't be too hard to estimate because, again, they've seen just the Game Pass growth. So, yeah, Game Pass is profitable. Okay. Phil Spencer said in 22 that they've been profitable. And this is what it looks like. And I don't think they're going to be slowing down because even though some people may not want to pay $20 a month, people will pay for a month if there's a game they want to play on Xbox. And then maybe unsubscribe, but that's still $20 that they got. And it's cheaper for the player. And again, players are going to go wherever it's cheapest. So, guys, this is the best breakdown we can actually have of how much Game Pass is actually making for Xbox. And it's insane. I mean, it's at a minimum $6 billion. And I think it's way more than that. Because, again, we don't have updated numbers. But, again, we're taking numbers from 22 and also from 23 and extrapolating those numbers. And, again, they've never said in their earnings reports since they've started this that Game Pass has ever gone down, either on console, the fully paid subscribers, or on PC. They've never said it. So, yeah, it's making a ton of money. What do you guys think? You can like, sub, all that jazz. You can always follow me at Gaming Garbage 22. Also, too, don't forget our playlists. There's a lot there that we do, including gaming news, kind of like stuff like this, and also reviews when we can get there. And then also over at Twitch, Don't Tread on Thee. But yeah, I find this stuff fascinating, folks. I do this stuff for fun, and I'll continue to do this for the channel. But yeah, I think they're profitable. I think they're very, very profitable, and that's why they're going to continue to keep doing it, and why they're going to keep raising the cost of Game Pass is because people are paying for it. There definitely is a threshold where players will say, nope, no more. But if you add up the value that you're getting from first party and third party, it's over $1,000 every year in games that you would generally have to buy, which is crazy. So with that, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one.